Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing great. So it's that time of the year. It's almost Valentine's Day and I thought it would be a very good idea to give you this tutorial. I am in the process of making something out of it, so that will be for my next video. But for today, I am going to be teaching you how to make this heart granny square that we shall be using to make our next project, which is on the screen right now. So after this video, make sure you check out my next video, which is going to be of the top, the halter top that I made out of this granny square. This is so cute. It can be worn on anything and it can be made using any yarn. So for the materials, I used 2 strands of fingering weight yarn and a 3.75mm crochet hook. The yarn that I used for this project is Robin. It's 100% acrylic and it's very thin. That's why I doubled it so that I can get a medium weight look. But if you have a DK weight yarn or a medium weight yarn that recommends around a 3 to 4mm crochet hook, please go ahead and use it and don't double it. Just use 1 strand. So the other thing that you will need is a pair of scissors. You don't need a measuring tape for this one. The measuring tape will come in when we are making the actual garment. So let's get started and learn how to make this beautiful granny square. So to start off with the heart granny square, you're going to start with a magic ring and you just wrap your yarn around your 2 fingers like that and then pull through the working yarn and then hold. You get the working yarn out of the way and then you're going to make a chain of 3 and that counts as our very first double crochet. So place 2 more double crochets into the magic ring, 1 and 2. You can reduce the magic ring at this point, but make sure you don't close it up completely. So you're going to make a chain of 2 and then 3 double crochets into the same magic ring. So far we have a total of 2 groups of 3 double crochets. This one and then this one, separated by a chain 2 space. And then you're going to chain 2, 3 double crochets into the magic ring. And then you're going to chain 2 and place 3 double crochets into the same magic ring. So we have a total of 4 groups of 3 double crochets. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what we are going to do now is to chain 2 and close up the magic ring completely. Just pull on the tail. So after your chain of 2, you're going to go into the top chain of the first chain 3 with a slip stitch. So you're going to just insert your hook, pull through all loops, and that marks the end of our round 1. So let's go on to round 2. You're going to make a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet chain 1. And then you're going to go into the next chain 2 space and place a shell. So a shell is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the same exact space. This will create our very first corner of round 2. And then you're going to make a chain of 1, 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the same exact space. And then you're going to chain 1, place a shell into the next chain 2 space. So 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. After this, you're going to chain 1 and then into this last chain 2 space, you're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets since the chain 3 counted as a double crochet. So you're going to just place 2 double crochets and then you're going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain of the chain 4 at the beginning of the round. So into the 3rd chain you're going to place 1 slip stitch and that will form a total of 3 double crochets at this point. So that marks the end of round 2. Let's go on to round 3, and this is when we are going to start introducing the yellow color. So you're going to make a chain of 3, which counts as a double crochet, and then you're going to go into the next chain 1 space with a total of 2 double crochets to make a total of 3 double crochets, since the chain 3 counts as a double crochet. You're going to chain 1, drop your work, pick up your color 2, for me that is yellow, and then I am going to just pull a loop through this loop of pink, and then just pull on the pink yarn to close the yellow yarn inside the loop. And at this point you're going to cut your color A, which is the first color. Just cut it, turn your work to the back and tie a knot. It can be a double knot like that. And then you're going to go into the chain 2 space with a shell, but this time we are going to be using our yellow color. So 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. So after that you're going to chain 1, and then we're going to do the same exact thing as we did before. So get your color A, which is pink for me, introduce it just like we did for the yellow, and then pull on the yellow yarn to lock in the pink yarn. And then from here, cut your previous color. Make sure you don't cut the wrong color, because it has happened to me before. So cut the yellow, turn your work around, make a double knot, and then you are going to continue into the chain 1 space, and you're going to place 3 double crochets. After those 3 double crochets, you're going to chain 1 and then place a shell into the next chain 2 space using the color A. So remember, shell is 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. And after this, you're going to chain 1, introduce color B, pull through a loop, and then hold on to the pink color, cut it, turn your work to the back, make a double knot out of the tails that you've left behind, like that. And then you can continue to place 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, like that. Chain 1, introduce color A, pull a loop through using color A, then pull on the yellow yarn to lock the new color, turn your work to the wrong side, make a double knot from the tails. Sorry, I didn't cut the yellow, so I have to cut the yellow in order to make a knot. So make a double knot, and then let's go back to working. So you're going to go into the chain 2 space with a shell. So 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets using color A, like that. And then you are going to chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and then you're going to chain 1, introduce color B. By now you should be knowing how to introduce the new color. Pull on the previous color, cut the old color, which is pink. Make sure you don't cut the wrong yarn. Then you're going to make a double knot, at the back like this, and then you are going to go into the chain 2 space with a shell. So 1, 2 and 3, chain 2, and 1, 2 and 3. So that is 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. Now you're going to chain 1 and you are going to slip stitch into the top chain of the first chain 3 of the round, like that. And then you're going to chain 4. Now we have stopped bringing in the pink because the heart shape has been formed at this point. You can see it here. So it will become more evident when we work this very last round. So your chain 4 counts as a double crochet chain 1. Now you're going to go into the next chain 1 space and you're going to place 3 double crochets, and then you're going to chain 1. This is a chain 2 space, so it gets a shell, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 more double crochets. And then you're going to chain 1. This is a chain 1 space, so it only gets 3 double crochets. Now after this, you're going to chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and then chain 1, place a shell into the next corner. So the corners have 2 chains whereby you have to place a shell like that. And you can see how the heart shape is already forming. So let's go ahead, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1. So as long as it's a chain 1 space, we only place 3 double crochets. If it's a chain 2 space, that means that's a corner and it has to get a shell, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 double crochets. So this is a corner, that means we are going to place a shell there. 1, 2 and 3, chain 2 and 3 more double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, all right. So chain 1 and then a shell into the corner, and then when it comes to the very last space, which is a chain 1 space, you're going to chain 1 and place only 2 double crochets, since the very first chain 3 counts as a stitch. So we are placing only 2 double crochets and then going into the third chain from the first chain 4. So you're going to count 1, 2, 3, and into that third chain you're going to place a slip stitch like that, and then from there you're going to cut your yarn. Or you can even go ahead and make this square bigger if you want, but I think this is the end for me. You're going to chain 1 and pull through. So after everything, you're going to turn your work to the wrong side and you're going to cut all your tails. Remember, we were tying using double knots, so I guess the work is secure enough. Make sure you don't cut any tails that are not tied in double knots. I'm only cutting those tails that have double knots on them. And from there, I am going to just make a knot as well here in the middle. And if you have only one yarn, if you used only one yarn for your project, no worries, you can use a darning needle to weave in your ends. I have no problem with weaving in ends using the knot method. Some people don't like it, but I don't mind it because this is the wrong side of the work, as long as they don't show on the right side. So the moment you're done with this, cutting all the knots, you are basically done with your granny square. I'm not going to cut this because I need it to join onto the next granny square, but that's basically it. You can put this away, and this is how our heart granny square has come out. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you did, and I will see you in my next video when we are making use of these granny squares to create an actual project. Bye.